Hey everyone, I'm Pastor Alec,
I'm Eli.
and today we are continuing to talk through Second Kings. So,
Yeah. You're almost
Eli,
getting to the end now.
we are getting to the end because there are, gosh, I've done this before. I always forget if it's 23, 24, or 25. It's 25 chapters in Second Kings, and we are on chapter
19. Yeah.
19. All right, so what do you got
Yeah.
for me
Let's
today?
get it started. Okay, so I got with the field general uh gonna slaughter his name.
Sennacherib.
Yes,
Okay.
Sennacherib. Yep. um so when he was making fun of the Lord, what
Yeah.
was like because I'm sure the original text wasn't like he made fun of the Lord. What was
Well,
the original
well,
text like?
mock.
Oh, okay, so
Uh,
like
Yeah, what verse are you on here?
um verse 23.
Verse 23.
Or
By your
is it?
messengers you have mocked the Lord.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what your
and you have
Bible
said
says.
with my, many chariots I've gone up the heights of the mountains to yeah. So, I don't know. I can't think off the head what the
Right.
term is in Hebrew, but yeah, mock, made fun of,
Because I was just
ridicule.
wondering if it was like a harsher connotation
Well,
type of thing.
Hebrew doesn't have a whole lot of words.
It's like simple, like
Yeah, like
kind of like up to interpretation of
well, yeah, I
the
mean,
context.
I think the context is, so we've got all kinds of different words in English. We've got Latin-based words, German-based words, Greek-based words, Latin-based words that we have through French, so they're French-based words.
Right.
We've
Yeah.
got all kinds of different vocabularies. Hebrew doesn't have all of that going on.
Okay.
So no, I think, mock means mock. I mean, think about it. To make fun of is that's actually harsher than we think it might be,
Right.
right? You're someone's turning you into a joke,
But yeah. Yeah.
right? So if the relationship is good, then it's a friendly joke.
Right.
If it's not, then yeah, you're getting shamed or
Yeah.
whatever. So
Disrespectful. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just wondering because that leads into my next question, and then because he killed 200,000 people, and so I was wondering
yeah.
if it was really something like really harsh or if it was just him mocking.
Well,
Um,
but I think the point is that you don't mock God,
yeah, that's
right? So
also
like,
true. Yes,
so
that's, that's very
if
true.
you are an enemy of God's
And
people and you hate God and you mock Him, then God doesn't like that very right.
right,
Like he gets
yeah,
upset about that, right?
and that brings me to my next point: is you mock God first. He kills 186,000 of your men, and
Yeah,
you, for whatever reason, still worship your God, and then
yeah,
your sons kill you while you worship
right.
your God.
Yeah. So all right. So
I
let's
just
actually
thought that was quite ironic.
yeah, so that's the and I think it's interesting because that's one of these this is one of these instances that I think maybe a lot of people aren't all that familiar with, right? So what happens is um, uh, Isaiah, this is actually a prophecy, right? That that Sennacherib, who is the commander of the Assyrian army, who will become king of Assyria, right, has brought his army to the gates of the city and he mocks God, and then Isaiah says, "Okay, fine. If you're gonna mock God, God says, right, then you're gonna be destroyed,
Right.
right? So yeah, if you go to back to verse, um, all right, verse middle of verse 9. So he sent messengers again to Hezekiah, saying, "Thus shall you speak to Hezekiah, king of Judah: Do not let your God, in whom you trust, deceive you, by promising that Jerusalem will not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Behold, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all lands, devoting them to destruction. And shall you be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered them? The nations that my fathers destroyed, Gozan, Haram, Rezeph, and the people of Eden who were in Tethlasar. Where is the king of Hamath, the king of Arpad, the king of the city of Sepharvaim, the king of Hena, or the king of of Eva, right? So he's like, so this messenger from the king is like, all right, look, we've destroyed everybody.
Right.
And you think that your God's going to save you? And so Isaiah has this prophecy then, after Hezekiah prays about it, and Isaiah has this prophecy saying there's going to be destruction, right? Um, and it, it eventually happens, right? That the Sennacherib's army All right, going forward, then let's see, verse 32, 19, verse 32. Therefore, thus says the Lord concerning the king of Assyria: He shall not come into the city, or shoot an arrow there, or come before it with a shield, or cast up a siege mound against it. By the way that he came, by the same he shall return, and he shall not come into this city, declares the Lord. For I will defend this city to save it, for my own sake and for the sake of my servant David. Remember, David's the one who built Jerusalem, right? He took it
Right.
from the Jebusites, so there's already a city there, but then he built it up and made it the
Right.
center for
Now,
everything, right?
he didn't build the first temple, though. That was Solomon, right?
Well, yeah, and
Kind of.
well, First Chronicles, he wanted to build a temple. It was his idea to build a temple,
Okay.
not God's. It was
Right.
David's idea, and God doesn't let him. But then you read in First Chronicles that David he wasn't allowed to build the temple, but he got a lot of the supplies ready there,
Right.
for it to be built. And that night the angel of the Lord went out and struck down 185,000 in the camp of the Assyrians. And when people arose early in the morning, behold, these were all dead bodies. Then Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went home and lived at Nineveh. And as he was worshipping in the house of Nisroch, his god, Adramelech and Sharezer, his son, struck him down with the sword and escaped into the land of Ararat. And Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his place. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, this is one of these that we don't always. I don't. Maybe a lot of people aren't aware of this one, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's like 185,000 people of the Assyrians, and
Now,
this
is there any like significance in his sons killing him and running away and not taking the throne, or is that just something?
well, one of his sons did.
Yeah, but not the one that killed him. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you kill a king, you want to take their power.
You know, I don't know exactly what was going on there.
Okay.
I mean, you can see it's interesting
Yeah, I'll have
because
to.
well, you can read on this, right? So there are, there's Egyptologists that study the history of Egypt,
Right.
There's Assyriologists, right? You can study the
Okay, yeah.
kingdom of Assyria.
Yeah.
This all this kind of stuff is, we'll talk about that, in the annals of the kings of Assyria,
Right.
right?
Okay, yeah.
So no, I don't remember exactly what the situation was around that one. But it does not seem to strike me as a very odd political situation that one
Right.
of the sons
Okay,
would kill him,
yeah.
get out of there,
Yes, there's been some crazier things for
right?
sure.
And then the other son comes and reigns in his place. Like that's
Right.
pretty,
Okay, so next with chapter 20, verse 8 through 11, when Hezekiah was walking up the steps.
Okay.
So God, gave his message to Hezekiah.
Okay.
How he would add 15 years to his life. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And when Hezekiah was sick and prayed, and then he asked for a sign. So the shadow walking backwards was God giving him a sign.
Yes.
That was him talking.
Yeah,
That
because
was-
there's a sundial, right? So
Oh, okay, on the sundial. I thought it was like like me standing here in my shadow, like moonwalking almost.
well, let's see. I guess let's read
Was
it.
it,
I'm
check?
thinking so, but I mean, it's the time. Like you can't. You
turned
they're
the time
measuring
back,
time. He's turning the
basically.
time back,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's the point. So, and Hezekiah said to Isaiah, "What shall be the sign? The Lord will heal me." This is verse 20, verse 8.
Okay.
And that I shall go up to the house of the Lord on the third day. And Isaiah said, "This shall be the sign to you from the Lord, that the Lord will do the thing he has promised. Shall the shadow go forward 10 steps or go back 10 steps?" Right? And Hezekiah answered, "It is an easy thing for the shadow to lengthen 10 steps. Rather, let the shadow go back 10 steps." And Isaiah the prophet called to the Lord, and he brought the shadow back 10 steps by which it had gone down on the steps of Ahaz. So yeah, maybe I'm just thinking sundial in my head. Maybe it's not a sundial, but it's the concept of
Okay, yeah.
it's time is moving backwards.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah, that is
Right?
blew my mind when I read it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that had me at like a little standstill for a second. I was like, wait, I'd
Yeah.
reread it again.
It's like the
Wait a
sun
second.
standing still over Gibeon or something, right?
Right,
It's
yeah.
it's a phenomenon, that is miraculous.
Now going to to the end of chapter 20, verse 19.
Okay.
Well, I guess we can go all the way back to chapter 12. So at that time, Marduk Baladan, the king of Babylon, sent Hezekiah letters and a gift. He had heard that Hezekiah had been sick. Marduk Baladan was a son of Baladan. As Hezekiah received the messengers, he showed them everything in his storerooms. He showed them the silver and the gold. He showed them the spices and the fine olive oil. He showed them where he kept his weapons, and he showed them all his treasures. In fact, he showed them everything in his palace and in his whole kingdom. Then Isaiah the prophet went to King Hezekiah. He asked him, "What did those men say? Where did they come from?" "They came from a land far away," Hezekiah said. "They came from Babylon." The prophet asked, "What did they see in your palace?" "They saw everything in my palace," Hezekiah said. "I showed them all my treasures." Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, "Listen to the Lord's message." He says, "You can be sure the time will come when everything in your palace will be carried off to Babylon. Everything the kings before you have stored up until this day will be taken away. There will be not anything left, says the Lord." End up going down, and Hezekiah says, "The message the Lord has spoken through you is good." Hezekiah replied, he thought, "There will be peace and safety while I'm still living."
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
he couldn't be more wrong.
Well, no. He's
Well, while he's still living, yeah.
that's the point. Well, that's what's so funny
Yeah.
about it. He's like, all right, so I don't have to deal with this, right?
Okay.
My kids have to deal with it, but I don't have to deal with it, right? I mean, that's kind of the. So yeah, and at this time, what's interesting, during the time of Isaiah, Babylon was a major city, and was a smallish empire,
Right.
but it wasn't the Babylonian empire that was going to come and take away all the gold from the Temple of Jerusalem.
Right.
Right. It was. I mean, it was, but it was much smaller then. Right now, when this is happening, Assyria is the big empire.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So Assyria is the one that's ruling everything, and it's not going to be. It'll be in 100 years after this takes place
yeah.
that the Babylonians are going to march on the Assyrians. They're going to take the Assyrian Empire, and then they're going to march throughout the Assyrian Empire and take more and more land.
Okay, yeah. Now,
And
is
when-
that during Ezekiel?
Yes.
Okay,
Ezekiel's living during that time. Ezekiel was a priest who ends up in Babylon, and he ends up as a prophet in Babylon.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So Ezekiel's living during that time. Jeremiah's living during that time. Daniel's living during that time. Right?
So is Isaiah still alive? then?
No,
Okay,
Isaiah's not alive
okay.
anymore. Right. So this is all taking place. The northern kingdom of Israel falls in 722 or 721 BC. So
Okay.
so some of these prophecies they're like straddling it. Sometimes like they're like the beginning of Isaiah's ministry is before that, and he's
Right.
saying the king of Babylon the king of Assyria is coming.
Right.
Right. And then he comes, and so then you've got, a little bit after that too. But the first wave of the Babylonian conquest is going to happen. Well, I think they take Assyria in like 610 BC.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like it's over 100 years
Right.
still, right? And so that's what Isaiah's prophesying about. It's still going to be another 100 years
Right.
till this actually happens,
So
right?
I was like, thank you.
Right. Yeah. So Hezekiah, and when Babylon takes Assyria, it's pretty quickly that they make their way to where is the northern kingdom used to be,
Right.
and to where Judah is. And while Assyria pretty much took all of Judah, it never, as we read, it was never able to take Jerusalem.
Right. Okay, yeah.
So it was. I mean, they were about to. They had 185,000
Yeah.
people surrounding the city, and God killed them all. Right. So they were never able to take Jerusalem, but the Babylonians do.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and they end up doing
Now-
three waves of it.
Is
Yeah.
that because I guess I can't really ask you if you think I was going to say, do you think if Hezekiah didn't do good that the Assyrians, which probably would have happened, but
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's one of these things where you have to think, what's actually happening here? What's happening in chapter 20?
chapter 20.
Yeah, what we just read here.
It's kind of telling you what's going to happen. Like it's shifting from the Assyrians to the Babylonians.
It is, but why didn't God just say, "I'm going to raise up Babylon and they're going to destroy you"? I mean, he does that in like Isaiah. You see that plenty.
Is it because of Hezekiah?
Well, yeah. I mean, the Second Kings kind of makes it sound like it's like, look, the Babylonians are strong. They're probably stronger than Jerusalem,
Right.
and we know, do the Babylonians like the Assyrians?
Probably not.
No.
Oh, okay.
Does
so they're just
Jerusalem like the
waiting.
Assyrians? No, right? So it's kind of like remember way back when we were talking about the northern kingdom and their alliance with Syria, the coalition that they make
Yeah.
with Syria against this Syria,
Right.
right? And and Judah doesn't take part in that,
Right.
right? Ahab, but instead Judah kind of makes a deal with
But
Assyria
that was
at that
with
time.
Elijah. Was that when Elijah was telling the king what he didn't want to hear?
Well, that I mean
Or is that a different?
that's before.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
before. Okay, and so this is with was Isaiah's prophetic ministry with King Ahab,
Yeah.
not Ahaz, right? And oh wait, I'm getting now. See, now I'm getting those two. I'm getting those two all mixed up.
Yeah, because I think Ahab was
In
with
my head
Elijah.
now. Yeah, yeah. It was Elijah's with Ahab,
Yeah.
and Isaiah's with Ahaz. Okay, all right. Um, so, so there's this, uh, there is this threat, and uh, Isaiah tells Ahaz, don't make a deal with anybody. Just trust in Yahweh. It's like, okay, well, now we got Assyria still. They're still the big players on the block. They're still dangerous. Everyone's afraid of them.
Right.
And now Babylon doesn't like them. And maybe Babylon is like, hey, Jerusalem, you're a big city, right? You've got some power. You sent the Assyrians away. They
Right.
went running, right? And the king of Assyria was assassinated afterward, right? Let's make a deal. Let's combine forces,
So
right?
that's why
Well,
Hezekiah let him in.
yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's what's happening here. And so he's showing off to him. Look how much
Right.
we've got, right? If you show this is all this stuff we've got, right? Look at
Right.
it all, right? And I think it's interesting though because I think Ahaz made the same deal with Assyria, and God said, "You knew he was going to end up destroying you is Assyria."
Okay, yeah.
And I think Hezekiah is like doing the same thing, making a deal with Babylon, and God says, "You knew he was going to destroy you."
Babylon.
It's going to be Babylon,
Yeah,
right? So
okay.
you make
Yeah.
you make a deal with the devil, and eventually the devil's going to want his due,
Right. Yeah, okay,
right?
yeah.
So and that I think that's what's happening here. He come, but you've got this other problem. See, God makes promises, and he actually comes good on them,
Right.
right? So he protects Jerusalem for the sake of David because he made a promise to David.
Right.
Okay. And Hezekiah has done all these wonderful reforms. He's done all this incredible stuff, right? And he's kind of already said, look, Hezekiah, I'm going to take care of you. But David messed up and his sons messed up. God still kept the promise to David, but in some ways now there's still going to be a penalty for messing things up.
Right.
Well, Hezekiah now is messed up. So he's still going to keep his promises to Hezekiah, but at some point there's going to be punishment for
Right.
the people of Judah, right? And
Now,
it comes by way of Babylon.
I don't know if I got this wrong. We talked about it a while ago. Did Ahab's family end up intermingling with the Judean family?
Well, remember what happens is Jehu's brought in to kill off the to kill off Jezebel, to get rid of
Yeah.
that whole family, so that the Davidic line can go back to the northern kingdom.
Okay, yeah. I got
Right.
you. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then one other question I had about all this. Throughout, like, all that we've been talking about, was Benjamin's tribe stuck with Judah's tribe, right?
Yeah,
Or
they
was it
kind of get subsumed into it.
Yeah, okay. I was making sure. I didn't know if they, like, had went back with the northern kingdom at any time, or
Which again is kind of interesting because remember Saul is from the tribe of Benjamin,
the
the first king.
yeah.
Right. So he's from the tribe of Benjamin, but Benjamin is also the one that fought a civil war against all the other tribes.
Okay, yeah.
So
It's kind of like they're kind of do their own thing.
yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. So for them to kind of always be a part of Judah, it's almost like Judah and Benjamin are like the royal houses or something.
Right, yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing. Then like nobody in Ephraim is like, Naphtali and Issachar and Gad and Asher. They're just kind of gonna do whatever they're told to do, I
Right.
guess.
Now, is Asher still like a city
What's a
like a pretty decent sized city, I guess?
I couldn't picture the map, but Asher is one of the tribes, so they've got they're a region of
Yeah.
of the Northern Kingdom.
Okay. I feel like that seems like
Most of them are not very large. Ephraim and Manasseh are large,
Okay.
but the other ones are not very
I was saying
large.
Manasseh.
And those are the
sounds-
two sons of Joseph.
Okay.
The other ones are Joseph's brothers.
All right.
Yeah.
Going into chapter 20 or 21.
Okay.
21 verse 3. So Manasseh rebuilt the high places. His father Hezekiah had destroyed them. Manasseh also set up altars to the god named Baal. He made a pole used to worship the female god named Asherah.
Mm-hmm.
Ahab, the king of Israel, had done those same things. Manasseh even bowed down to all the stars and he worshipped them.
Yeah.
Wait, that's not right.
Hmm?
Because
And worship all the hosts of heaven
Okay,
and serve
yeah.
them.
I had that same thing, but for whatever reason in this translation, I don't know what I'm.
Mm.
It didn't have the host of heaven part. But so the host of heaven is the angels, right? Or the army.
Well, it could be the armies of heaven. It could be the stars. Just depends on how you're, what. It's hard to know what exactly they're doing, right? So it's my guess, and yeah, I think that it's probably both in some sense. Like
Right.
he's worshiping when they looked up into the night sky, they saw entities, and they saw
Yeah.
powerful entities,
Right.
right, and so that's what he's worshiping.
Okay. So it's because I was wondering why he was worshiping everything and then also worshipped all the host of what is this? He just like worshiping whatever.
Yeah. He's kind of an animist, right? So he's worshiping Asherah. He's worshiping all the powers in the world,
Right.
The gods of the world.
That's just
Right.
it's weird to wrap my head around. I guess.
Well, that's what a lot of people. That's what they were doing. I mean, that's what.
Yeah.
I mean, people have done that since. I mean, Paul writes about that in Romans 1, right? You worship the creation rather than the Creator. You
Right,
created the truth
yeah.
of God for the lie, right?
Right.
Manasseh's a young guy when he begins to reign. He was,
He was 12.
12 years old, reigns for 55 years. Okay. He did what was evil in the sight of God. He rebuilt the high places that Hezekiah had destroyed.
Right.
So Hezekiah did all these reforms, and he just undoes all of it immediately, right? And he erected altars for Baal and made an Asherah. Okay, and an Asherah pole, by the way, she's a fertility goddess,
Yeah. Okay.
so it's a phallic pole,
okay.
right? So it's, so as Ahab, king of Israel, had done, and worshipped all the host of heaven and served them, and he built altars in the house of the Lord, of which the Lord had said, in Jerusalem I will put my name. So he builds in the Jerusalem temple foreign altars.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Okay. Well, it gets even worse. Go to verse 7. All right, he provoking God to anger. All right. And the carved image of Asherah that he had made, he set in the house of which the Lord said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will put my name forever. So he is the one who takes an Asherah pole,
Right.
a stone phallus,
Right.
and he puts it into the temple of God. And it's like, all right, you're done. Right?
Yeah.
That's not. So at this point now, this is going to be the downfall of Judah.
Right.
Judah was already in pieces, and there was really just Jerusalem left at this point. But at this point, this is going to be the downfall of Jerusalem.
Right.
And it's just a spiral downward. And they're going to have another good king, Josiah, but they're not going to be able to come out of this.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's all I had. I
Okay.
guess next time we get into it, we'll.
Yeah, we might
We'll
even
see
finish
that.
up the book. Who knows? So yeah, what's going to happen is we're seeing the spiral downward of Jerusalem, and we're heading right into the Babylonian captivity.
Right. Yeah. As soon as you said he brought that Asherah pole into into the temple, I was-
Yeah, and I'm not
I knew it
sure.
was
I don't
done.
think anyone else had done that. I'm not sure that anyone else actually brought in a I don't know of any other king that brought in a pole to
yeah,
Asherah.
I remember they would put they had the altars outside the temple.
They did, And
they did something else
they did some things in the temple too, I think.
where you had to pay or something. Or
Yeah,
maybe
well,
it was where you had to go to the temple and no. I think that's what we were talking about, and so that's why they had the high places, was so that everybody didn't have to go.
yes, yeah, they had. Yeah, that's right. They had the high places, which were around during the time, even during Solomon's time, before Solomon.
Right.
And yeah, because it was a lot to come to Jerusalem, but that's what God said, right? You come to Jerusalem, you don't
Right.
come to the high places anymore. And so yeah, they had all that, but I'm not sure anyone else put an Asherah pole inside the temple.
Right.
Like, this is like
Well, and
the worst thing you could do.
yeah,
Right.
well, I was gonna say it's not, I guess not to the same extent, but it's relative to Jesus going in the temple with the merchants.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, in some sense, right? Well, but even still, they're not in the temple proper,
Right.
right? So
Okay. Yeah, they're in the courtyard.
they're in the
maybe.
courtyard
Yeah.
because people can't go into the temple, right?
Right.
Well, the high priest goes into the Holy of Holies once a year,
Okay.
and then the priests can go into the holy place if they're serving.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
Everyone else stays outside the temple,
Right.
right?
So, okay, that was even the same then, wasn't it?
Well, yeah,
they
and-
would bring their offerings and give it to the people.
yeah,
and they would offer it.
because the altar's out front of the temple.
Okay. Yeah.
And then there's a place where the men can go. And then there's a place where everyone can go, all the Israelites. And then there's a place where Gentiles can go,
Okay.
right? Like there's these places you don't go into, right?
Right.
Most people, hardly anybody ever went inside the temple. It's not
They-
like going in a church today or something.
They have a place for Gentiles.
Yeah, far enough away.
Oh well, yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't even know that though.
Yeah, no, yeah, far enough away, and especially by the time Jesus comes. See, when Jesus comes, first of all, this temple is going to be destroyed, and they're going to rebuild it.
Right.
And then they rebuild it, and then Herod the Great takes it upon himself to really jazz up the temple complex, and he builds all kind of incredible stuff around the temple.
Right.
That's not the temple itself. So like nowadays, you can go to Jerusalem and see a large section of Herod's temple complex that he built.
Okay.
I've touched it.
That's crazy.
Right? What's the Western Wall? That's the Wailing Wall. Is a part of Herod's
Actually,
temple
yeah, I think-
complex.
yeah.
And you can
I think you've mentioned that before.
yeah, and you can see this whole section of it there, and where the temple used to be right now is the Dome of the Rock, right? A mosque, but you can go there. But he built. I mean, you see how like none of that was there
Right.
during this time. Like it was just a building on a hill.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they would put all kinds of different things. You know, the altar was outside of it and all this stuff. But no one was going in there. Again, it's not like going to church or something.
Right.
You don't go into the temple, right?
Right.
So for him to take a Asherah pole and
Yeah,
put
that
it
is-
into the temple, which people don't even see. Like, who's that for?
Right. Yeah.
Who's that for? It's for him. It's for the priests. And who? For God.
Yeah. That is-
Right? I mean,
didn't
it's-
even think about it like
it's-
that because I thought it was just everybody went in the temple, worshipped and left.
No,
That
you
is
don't. You're not
crazy.
allowed to do that. Right. So like that's kind of like that's to me it seems like that's like the last straw.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's when you were reading it. That was exactly what I thought of.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. So again, we'll all right. So next time we'll pick up and we'll probably finish up. I guess finish up the book.
Yeah.
And it'll end with the Babylonian captivity and the king of Judah, Jerusalem being taken away, imprisoned, and,
Right.
his sons killed, and all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty brutal, and that'll be the end of 2 Kings. But we'll get through when we get there. So thank you as always for your questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.